So today what we have here is a little drill that I like to do. I thought it up in order to be able to evaluate my own performance. It's very good to shoot cold and then write all of your performance down. That way, as you progress, you can see on paper your progression, do your draws, reloads, your trigger manipulation, so on and so forth. It'll also help kind of weigh one gun versus another gun. A lot of time folks out there, they're saying, hey, I feel better shooting this gun, or it's more pretty, so I shoot better with it. Okay, well, okay, how do you quantify that? Well, you can, as long as you use a timer and a target. Use a timer and a target, and you'll be able to see the performance, because that's what really matters. It's not how smooth it is or how slick it feels when you're screwing around with it at home. The big deal is the performance again. So this is a good drill in order to find that out, put something head to head. It's you with this variable versus you with this variable. Of course, it's not totally scientific, because, you know, as you shoot this thing, you're going to warm up and warm up, so it is always good to shoot it cold. But it's a good thing to have in hand in order to watch yourself progress, and then that way you can see on paper how good you're getting, things like that. So let's kind of go down through what this entails. And it's very simple. It's 25 rounds, so it's not going to cost you a whole bunch of money. It's 25 rounds. You'll need a holster. Depends on what you're carrying, whatever it is. 2 mags, definitely 2 mags. The holster, mag pouch. And how this is scored is if you're using like a 40 or 45, something that shoots a major power factor, you'll score yourself anything hit outside the circle will be a .25. Whereas if you're shooting 9mm or something minor power factor, you go ahead and just put you down for a .5. So you add a half a second to that. That kind of gives you a leeway on your performance and progression throughout this. Leave some room there to improve. You'll also need a little room in order to do this. It goes from up close to 25 yards. If you don't have the full 25 yards, that's fine too. You could just write where you were away from the target on this last string and just compare that to the next time, set up. If you can't do 25, do 20 yards, and so on and so forth. So let's go get into it. All right, so for this first part of the drill, what we're looking for, especially with a cold start, is your ability to whip this thing out and get it into action ASAP with a smooth trigger pull, all while maintaining your discipline for safety. So we'll go ahead and shoot 5 rounds, see where we're at, write it down, and then we'll move on back. All right, so we're trying all this electronic crap out. We got a CED electronic starting signal to get a visual. It seems like it works. We'll see. And then a big board display. So we got all this technology here. We'll see if we can work. But the first part of the drill, 5 rounds from retention. About an arm's length away. All right. So that was a 146. Let's see if you can see it over there. 146. Pretty easy. You're right up on the target. That was my first run, pretty much. Besides testing the equipment. So 146. So what I'll do is I'll write that down. All right. So for the second part, we're going to go back to the 5-yard line, and we're going to put 5 more rounds on the target. From 5 yards, if you're working with a red dot, yes, you look at the target. If you're working with iron sights, go ahead and do a soft focus at this point, and work that trigger. So be aware of the trigger feel more so than the sights from a distance like this. You'll be aware of your iron sight picture, but all you're going to do is manipulate that trigger smoothly to the rear and just watch the bullets drop in there on the target if you're using irons. If you're using red dot, of course, just look at the target. All right, so let's try 5 rounds from 5 yards. All right, let's hope this little CED timer works. Okay, so on that one, my first round was a little off. It was still in there, but from looking at the indicator, then having to switch up there, I was lucky and got it right into the center once I got into the 2nd through 5th round. So that was a 235. So that first round is a 150. Now that's garbage, but it's something new that I'm trying out, working from a visual cue rather than the audio cue that we're so accustomed to. So we'll go ahead and write that down. If there's anything out, of course we score it as such, but so far at this range we're all in. All right, so back here at the 10-yard line, we're going to shoot 5 more rounds at the target. What we're going to focus on as a red dot user is the story that it gives us while manipulating that trigger straight to the rear and concentrating on grip to just have that thing go right into the center. With iron sights, you're going to dial in those iron sight picture a little bit harder for this distance, depending on your skill level, and then also incorporate that trigger discipline in there as well. So let's put 5 rounds on there and see what it looks like. All right, so that was a 307 with a 157. So getting used to this light coming on, I have to switch my focus from down there where it's at to up above there as of right now. We'll see how that works out, but we'll write down that 307 from 10 yards. Okay, so now this next part incorporates a reload. You or a buddy is going to set it up to where you have 2 rounds in one mag and 3 rounds in another one. You don't know what's going to go on, but your object is to put 5 rounds on that target. So I don't know what's going on in here, so I'm going to mix them up, juggle them around a little bit, put them in here. All right, and so that'll give you a slide lock reload. Practice a slide lock reload in there, and I hold so high that I'll have to manipulate the slide 9 times out of 10, and it'll be a little bit slower, but it's just good practice in order to do that. All right, so 5 rounds on the target, 3 in one mag, 2 in another, and then we'll see what happens. You'll write down your reload time as well. So I'm going to put the mystery mag right here. All right. Please electronic work. All right. Okay, so that's what a crusty old cold reload looks like. They're still in there, so that was a 5.65. And then we'll see what the reload looks like here. Review. All right, so that was a 3-second reload with a rack, lock back, and then shove another one in there. So 301. All right, now we'll set the camera up and go back to 25 yards. All right, so we're here at the 25-yard line. We're gonna put 5 more rounds on the target. Iron sight users, again, use that, dial in that sight picture. You want the perfect sight picture and perfect trigger pull to run those things right into the center of that target. Red dot users, you got it a little easier. Just watch the dot and just dance in the center of the target and you should be good, as long as you don't with damn bad trigger pull. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can see that darn light down there. All right. All right. Let's see on the timer what it looks like. 4:44. All right, I'm kind of hanging back because, like I said, this is a cold start, and I'm more focused on passing on the information than I am my own performance. But later on, I'm going to try to run it for real. All right, we got all those. Okay, what was that draw? As a 192 draw. All right, being mousy with it, but it was still decent. We'll see what it looks like on the target when we go down there. 444. Is there anything else I need to write down? No, I think that's it. And then let's go see the target. Oop, looks like I had a couple low. All right, so I had 2 low here. When I remember what I shot, I remember it was dancing in here, so that could have been on me with a bad timing issue, shoving it down a little bit too quick. All right, so we'll add those to the time and then we'll calculate it all up and kind of see where we're at. Okay, so here we are at the retention part of the drill. I'm now shooting an Xdm OSP. It's got the SRO on it to give it a little wider, a little bit of leeway for the hunting for that dot. So I've been shooting this a couple months now in competitions. So I think it's going to be an unfair advantage rather than the OZ9, which I haven't really been shooting a Glock type gun for a while. So we're at the retention part of the drill, and the reason it's kind of stifling, it'll kind of surprise you, is that you'll start getting trigger freeze because you're wanting to go so fast, but you have to be mentally aware of that when you're doing your drill. I'm doing it in a safe position here, so there's different ways that you can augment this depending on the comfort level. So I could have it here and bring it in here to start zippering this guy up. I can move back away, which is, you know, tactically more sound. Depends on the situation, how you want to try and train. It's up to you. So I'm just doing it here, just doing it safely. So let's see if we can get all this electronic stuff working again. Yes. We'll make ready and we'll put 5 on here, retention. All right, please work. All right, what was that? Might need a new target. That was a 146. All right, 146. That was exactly what I had on the last one. All right. All right, let me reset this and get a new target. All right, so this would be a good good time to try out these little replacement C-zones. These are from Target Barn. We'll see how this pans out. All right, so I got some spray 77 here. I'll just spray the C-zone. All right, and it should hold this guy. So I'm going to start up here. Put that in there and just kind of wave it down. And basically have a brand new target right there, like Magic Mike. Boom, let's see how it fares. All right, so we're at the 5-yard line with the Xdm. Let's put 5 on there and see the little dot bounce up and down. On these Target Barn replacements, there's not a hard line. As you can see, there's like a little ghost circle, IDPA circle, and a ghost USPSA rectangle there. So, but fortunately, they give you a little aiming point there, so that's kind of neat. Let's see how this does. All right, that felt pretty good. Let's see how it is compared to the OZ9. So that's 217. All right, so now we're at the 10-yard line with the Xdm. Let's put 5 on here and make sure those trigger pulls are smooth and that the dot's dancing where I want it to dance. All right, I kept it pretty controlled. I didn't go too spastic. It's a nice tight group. It could have went faster, but we're not here to do that. All right, so that's a 266. All right, now let's see with the reload. Let's go ahead and mix these up a little bit. Another little variation you can do is get a dummy round and put this in there. It's kind of, I'm just going to have to put them in my hand and then just kind of figure out what's what without trying to look here. So it's better with the buddy system. So now, let's see, I'm gonna put this here, this here. So with the buddy system, it's a little bit more, I guess, fair, because you could cheat, but don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. Okay. Almost went into another reload, but that's another thing. So one of the hurdles in the competition is you can create bad habits with this stuff. Instead of analyzing, taking the time to analyze what's going on, tap rack and all that stuff, and then almost going into a reload, I remembered, hey, this slide's closed, it's good to go. I could just rack it and another one, at least try to. So one thing to make note of. So it looks like they're all in there, good. 514. That's not the reload part of it. Let's look at the reload here. So that was a 258, right? Yeah, so that was a 258 between shot 4 and to shot 5, 258. All right, we're back to the 25-yard line for the XDM evaluation of this drill. And I'm just going to concentrate on a good smooth trigger pull and watching that dot react like I want it to, and should put them all in the center. All right, let's load up. All right, as I remember the little performance that just happened, the first shot might have been a little low, the second one possibly a little low, and then the rest should be in there. I think I anticipated a little bit on the first two, just going from the draw, which was a 181. All right, and then so one thing to consider today is using this light, this visual cue. I can hardly see what's going on there, so it takes a little bit of getting used to. I want to play with that a little bit more, because that would be a good training tool, because you're reacting to a visual stimulus. Therefore, in like a real world training, whether airsoft or whatever, you're going off a visual cue instead of a sound cue. Because I don't know if anybody, or I haven't seen any footage of anybody saying, I'm going to attack, and then they pull a gun on you or whatever. So it's usually them digging in a coat or having something in their hand. That way you should go into action once you see that visually. So I'm hoping that works out. That's my theory. So let's go visit the target and see what happened down there. Yep, look at that. So I was right, here's the first two shots, but everything else was in there. So I got lucky that I saw them about down here from what I could tell at 25 yards, but they still got in there, so I got lucky on that part. I knew those first two were low, but so yeah, I'm not Nostradamus. I just look at the dot like you do. So cool. All right, so to kind of show you the difference here between the OZ9 and the XDM, like I said, I knew I was going to do a little bit better just because I've had the XDM in my hand for the past couple months, a little bit more than the OZ9, well, a lot more than the OZ9. And eventually, hopefully, I want to do a review on the OZ9 because I like some of the features that it has, and maybe the XDM as well, because the XDM, I don't see a lot of people using that. I don't know if they know something that I don't, but what I've been shooting an XDM since like 14, I think, 2014, and it's been nothing but good. So anyway, so the OZ9 comes out at 1132 plus the 1 second added for the 2 shots out into the C zone. Again, that's a half a second down per minor scoring. So if you're shooting a 9mm, you add a 0.5. If you're shooting a 40 or a 45, go ahead and just do 0.25 added on. All right, so that gives it a 1232. So today, shooting that cold, the OZ9 performed with me a 1232. The XDM did a little bit better. I had no shots outside. That's a 1066. And then on the reload or malfunction part of it, that was a 258. I'm not going to add that in there against this, evaluating that against the other gun, because the other gun, we just did a slide lock reload. So that wouldn't be fair, but just keep track of whatever you do in there, and that way you can reanalyze that later on down the road. So the reload portion of it I did in parentheses here. That is to keep track of what a slide lock reload should be with that firearm. But down here with the XDM, I changed it up a little bit and did the old dummy round, in there. So that's not fair to evaluate that versus that because it's two different things. But just keep track of those numbers and what you did. That way, you know, 2 weeks, a month down the road, and you're wanting to analyze what have you done, you can look at that. So I hope you got something out of this. It's a pretty easy way to warm up your training day or evaluate where you are at a certain point in your training, and another way to analyze one gun versus another gun with something that can be quantified instead of just, you know, perception of, oh, I like the way that thing looks. It's going to do really well if I'm shooting it. All right, so thank you for watching me and my buddy here play around. Make sure you click that like button, hit that bell, subscribe, do all that craziness, and we'll keep seeing you, and appreciate it very much. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving holiday.